Assalamu alaikum. It's our 14th lecture of managerial economics, and our today's topic is production analysis and estimation. Before starting today's lecture, let me give you an overview of today's and subsequent lectures. We are going to discuss production function, total, marginal and average product, law of diminishing returns to a factor, input combination choices, marginal revenue product and optimal employment, optimal combination of multiple inputs, optimal levels of multiple inputs, and returns to scale. First of all, we need to discuss output and input, because basically production is the transformation of inputs into output of goods and services. For example, IBM hires workers to produce personal computers. That is, it hires workers, and these workers use machinery, raw materials to produce personal computers, that is laptops and desktops. There are two types of goods, and those are final good and intermediate good. Final good is a good or commodity that is brought into the market for final consumption, whereas the intermediate good is the good that is used in production of other commodities, such as semiconductors is used in the production of personal computers or other products. Similarly, we have said that production is the transformation of inputs into output of goods and services. So we have used here the term services too. These days, the importance of services cannot be denied. As we know that when GATT 1947 was replaced by WTO, that is the World Trade Organization, it has various agreements. तो जो agreements यहाँ पे किए गए, इनमें हमने जो GATT 1947 में there was no agreement regarding the services. But now, looking at the importance of the services in production, in trade, international trade, there was a separate agreement on trade in services, which is known as General Agreement on Trade in Services, that is GATS. तो इससे हम सर्विसेज की जो इम्पोर्टेंस है उसका अंदाज़ा लगा सकते हैं कि WTO में इस पर एक अलग से जो है एग्रीमेंट है. सर्विसेज इंक्लूड्स एजुकेशन सर्विसेज, हेल्थ सर्विसेज, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन, कम्युनिकेशन, कैटरिंग सर्विसेज, banking, that is financial services, and various other types of services. We have talked about the output, that is, it is goods or services, and we have seen that there are two types of goods, final goods and intermediate goods. Now, what about inputs? The inputs can be classified into four broad categories, such as labor, capital, land, and natural resources. These are broad categories of inputs, and these categories can further be classified into various other categories. जैसे कि लेबर को हम पहले कंसिडर करें तो हम देख सकते हैं कि लेबर could be production labor, non-production labor. If you are considering textile, that is clothing unit, we can see that there are different departments like designing department है, और इसमें फिर cutting department है, stitching department है. All these workers, they are included in this labor class. Similarly, there could be unskilled labor, skilled labor. और फिर इसमें highly qualified professionals भी आ जाते हैं, जैसे कि entrepreneurs हैं, educationists हैं, doctors, engineers, and designers. All these fall into this category of labor. There are two types of inputs. Basically, there are two types of inputs. One is fixed input and the other is variable input. Fixed input is fixed in the short run. That is, it cannot be changed readily. एकदम से आप इसको change नहीं कर सकते. You cannot change plant or sophisticated machinery of a factory overnight. इसमें time जो है वो लगेगा. So that is called a short run. Short run में आप जो है at least short run is a period in which at least one input is a fixed input, whereas in the long run, all the inputs are variable inputs. How long is the long run? That will depend on the nature of industry that we are talking about. जो जैसे कि अगर हम ये कहते हैं कि we are going to set up a dry cleaning unit, that will take dry cleaning जो business है उसको set up करने में maybe हो सकता है कि आपको कुछ हफ्ते चाहिए हों या मे बी इट विल टेक some months. So we can say that in that case, the long run will be equal to maybe 2 months, 3 months. But if a firm is going to construct an electricity generating plant, that will take a year or maybe more than 1 year. So in that case, the long run will be equal to a year or maybe more than 1 year. Now, next we are going to consider the production function. जैसे कि डिमांड थ्योरी में सबसे ज़्यादा इम्पॉर्टेंट कॉन्सेप्ट जो है वो डिमांड फंक्शन है. सिमिलरली द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट कॉन्सेप्ट इन द प्रोडक्शन थ्योरी इज़ अ प्रोडक्शन फंक्शन. Production function, basically it is a relationship between inputs and outputs, and it could be an equation, a table or a graph. Next देखेंगे एक table. We can express a production function in the form of an equation, so that we can say that Q is a function of, let's say, x1, x2 up to xk, where Q is the output and x1, x2, xk are the inputs. For the sake of simplicity, we assume that the firm is using only 2 inputs and it is producing 1 output. The 2 inputs are labor L and capital K. In this table, you can see that we have different units of capital. Labor 6 units हमारे पास labor के हमने यहाँ पे दिखाए हैं और 6 units जो हैं वो capital के हैं. There are various combinations of labor and capital, that is the 2 inputs, various combinations of these 2 inputs. And these can be shown as various combinations. जब हम यूज़ करते हैं लेबर के और कैपिटल के, तो इसके नतीजे में जो भी आउटपुट जो है वो फर्म प्रोड्यूस करती है, दैट इज़ रिप्रेजेंटेड बाय क्यू इन दिस केस. और इसमें हम देख सकते हैं कि वेरियस जो कॉम्बिनेशंस हैं, फॉर एग्जांपल 1 यूनिट ऑफ लेबर एंड 1 यूनिट ऑफ कैपिटल, this will be equal to 3 units of Q, that is 3Q. When 1 unit of labor and 1 unit of capital is used, in this results in 3 units of output. इसी तरह से अगर हम जो है यहाँ पे देखें कि if 2 units of labor are employed and 1 unit of capital is used, then the total product or total output will be equal to 8Q or 8 units. Similarly, if we go on increasing the number of units of labor, that is 1K and 3L, that is equal to 12Q. एंड सो ऑन. इसी तरह से अगर हम यहाँ पे कैपिटल जो है उसको इंक्रीज करते हैं, इफ़ वी इंक्रीज द नंबर ऑफ यूनिट्स ऑफ कैपिटल एम्प्लॉयड, दैट इज़ फ्रॉम 1 यूनिट टू 2 यूनिट्स, 2 यूनिट्स ऑफ कैपिटल और 2K 1L इज इक्वल टू 7Q, एंड सिमिलरली 3K 1L is equal to 10Q. So we can see that there are various combinations of inputs, these 2 inputs, that is labor and capital, and it is related to a specific level of output. यहाँ पे जो units हम use कर रहे हैं, both for the inputs and the outputs, these are physical units. They are not expressed in terms of monetary units. Similarly, we also here assume that technology is it is not changing. That is, we are assuming that the technology is fixed. और इसी तरह से हम ये भी assume करते हैं that the different units, various units of capital and labor, they are homogeneous or they are identical. As I said, that in the form of an equation, we can express that production function or total output is equal to, is a function of inputs used, that is x1, x2 up to xk. But for the simplicity, here we have assumed that the firm is producing only 1 output with 2 inputs, and these 2 inputs are labor and capital. In that case, we can express our production function as Q F of K and L. That is, Q or the total output depends on the number of units of labor and number of units of capital employed. So इस तरह से जो dependence है, that is between these 2 inputs and the output. In this case, this means that here we are assuming that there are only 2 variable inputs. और ये जो variable inputs हैं, these are labor and capital. Further, यहाँ पे हमने, जैसे कि आप देख सकते हैं, इस टेबल में हमने various combinations जो हैं वो देखे हैं, और इन various combinations में आप देख सकते हैं that there are some combination. For instance, there is a combination where we use 1 unit of capital and 3 units of labor. The production is, यहाँ पे जो production है इसके against आप देख सकते हैं that is equal to 12Q. Similarly, when 6 units of labor are employed and 1 unit of capital is employed, then again the number of units produced are again equal to 12 units. Similarly, you can see that when 1 unit of labor is employed and 4 units of capital are employed, again the total output is 12 units. इसी तरह से आप next combination भी देख सकते हैं, then that 1 unit of labor, that is 1L and 5K is also equal to 12Q. इसमें जाहिर है कि फर्म जो है वो हमने ये कहा है these inputs are obviously not free. So in this case obviously जो फर्म है वो प्रेफर करेगी combination of 1L and 4K over 1L and 5K. Similarly जहाँ पे हमने देखा था कि 1K and 3L that was equal to 12Q and also 1K and 6L वहाँ पे भी जो आउटपुट है वो 12Q है. तो इसमें भी हम जाहिर है कि फर्म जो है वो सिलेक्ट करेगी इस कॉम्बिनेशन को जहाँ पे उसको सिमिलर जो है आइडेंटिकल आउटपुट मिल रही है और उसकी जो नंबर ऑफ यूनिट्स एम्प्लॉयड हैं वो 1 यूनिट ऑफ कैपिटल एंड 3 यूनिट ऑफ लेबर. It will be preferred over the combination of 1 unit of capital and 6 units of labor. The relationships that we have shown in the form of this table, that is the relationship between various combinations of capital, labor and the corresponding maximum level of output, that can be shown now in the form of a diagram. As you can see on your screen, this is a 3-dimensional diagram. On the 2 axes, we have plotted labor and capital, and the height of each bar represents the maximum level of output corresponding to these various combinations. The top of each bar presents the maximum level of output. This means that the tops of these bars are presenting a production surface. We are considering here production function, which is a function of 2 variable inputs, that is labor and capital. Now we are going to assume that one of these is assumed fixed, that is one of these variable inputs is assumed fixed. Let's say we assume that K is assumed fixed at K equal to 1, that is इस लेवल पे हम ये assume करते हैं कि जो कैपिटल हम एम्प्लॉय कर रहे हैं उसका हम सिर्फ 1 यूनिट जो है वो यूज़ कर रही है फर्म और इसको हम यहाँ पे फिक्स कर रहे हैं. So that in that case the production function can be written, either we can write that it is a function of labor alone because now the variable input is only labor, while capital is also capital जो है वो भी इसकी input है, लेकिन हमने ये assume किया है कि for the time being capital is held fixed at the level of K equal to 1. So that either we can say that okay, now Q is a function of labor, or we can express it in a more precise way, that is Q is a function of labor such that K is equal to 1. जैसे कि आप स्क्रीन पर देख सकते हैं कि इस प्रोडक्शन फंक्शन को हम स्पेसिफिकली इस तरह से लिख सकते हैं कि हम क्लियरली बता रहे हैं कि जो प्रोडक्शन फंक्शन है वो प्रोडक्शन डिपेंड करेगी number of units of labor employed, and here जो capital is also an input, but this is assumed to be fixed at the level of K equal to 1. जब हम ये assume करेंगे तो यहाँ पे अब जो production function हम आपको है जिसका relationship हम बताएंगे वहाँ पे basically variable input जो है that is only 1, and in this case we have selected labor as the variable input, whereas the capital is the fixed input. Now we are going to, using this relationship between Q and L, we are going to show, or we are going to derive the schedule for total product, marginal product and average product, which can be seen in the form of a table. Now here in the first column of the table you can see that we are increasing the number of labor used, that is the number of units of labor employed. यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हैं कि जब 0 लेबर हम यूज़ कर रहे हैं तो टोटल प्रोडक्ट जो है आउटपुट जो है वो भी 0 है. When 1 unit of labor is employed, the total output is equal to 3 units. And here we are assuming implicit in this table is the message that K is fixed. हम यहाँ पे K जो है that is an input, but K is being held fixed at a specific level. और इसके बाद third column जो यहाँ पे है वहाँ उसमें हमने we have calculated marginal product of labor. Marginal product of labor is the change in output for a given change in labor, that is with a 1 unit change in labor we can calculate the marginal product of labor. क्योंकि हम पहले column में in the first column we are increasing the number of labor by 1 unit, so that we can easily calculate the marginal product of labor simply by subtracting the successive units of the total product. For instance, अगर हम 1 यूनिट एम्प्लॉय करते हैं तो टोटल प्रोडक्ट हमारे पास 3 यूनिट्स है. इफ़ यू एम्प्लॉय 2 यूनिट्स तो टोटल प्रोडक्ट इज 8. सो द marginal product of labor for the first unit is 3, that is 3 minus 0 is 3, and then for the next is 8 minus 3 which is equal to 5 and so on. इसी तरह से हम ये कॉलम जो है उसको कंप्लीट कर लेंगे. दैट इज़ वी कैन easily calculate the marginal product of labor. In symbols we can say that marginal product of labor is delta Q by delta L. That is a small change in Q which results in by giving a change of 1 unit to labor. 1 यूनिट की चेंज जो है वो लेबर में जब आती है तो इसके नतीजे में जो भी तब्दीली या कमी या ज़्यादती जो है वो आउटपुट में आएगी. दैट इज़ द मार्जिनल प्रोडक्ट ऑफ लेबर. मार्जिनल प्रोडक्ट ऑफ लेबर के कॉलम में आप देख सकते हैं कि फर्स्ट इट इज़ 3, 5, दैट इज़ इट इज़ इंक्रीजिंग विद द फिक्स्ड यूनिट ऑफ K equal to 1. लेबर इज़ इंक्रीज्ड एंड इट्स मार्जिनल प्रोडक्ट इज़ ऑल्सो इंक्रीजिंग. बट आफ्टरवर्ड्स इट स्टार्ट्स डिक्लाइनिंग. जैसे कि आप देख सकते हैं कॉलम 3 में फिर इसके बाद ये 4 हो जाती है, 2, 0 एंड देन इट बिकम्स नेगेटिव. एवरेज प्रोडक्ट ऑफ लेबर इज़ वेरी सिंपल टू कैलकुलेट. वी सिंपली डिवाइड the number of the total number of units produced by the number of units employed, that is the number of units of labor. जो क्वांटिटी हमने लेबर की यूज़ की है सिंपली हम यहाँ पे जो कॉलम आपका है 2 उसको हम डिवाइड करेंगे कॉलम 1 से and we get average product of labor. For example, if the total product of labor is 12 and the number of units employed are 3, then 12 divided by 3 is equal to the average product of labor. In symbols, we can say that average product of labor is simply Q divided by L. Look at the last column. Here we have calculated the output elasticity with respect to labor. That is the output elasticity of labor. And for this purpose, we have calculated these elasticities corresponding to different units of labor. यहाँ पे हमारे पास जो elasticity है पहले 1 है, then 1.25, 1, 0.57, 0, and again it is -1. So we have seen here that the formulas that we have used for marginal product of labor is the change in total product given a change in the labor. That is, in symbols we can say delta Q by delta L, or in terms of calculus it is curly Q by curly L, or average product of labor is equal to Q by L. And similarly here elasticities क्योंकि हमने यहाँ पे calculate की हैं तो elasticity का formula जैसे कि हम पहले भी discuss कर चुके हैं, that is equal to elasticity of output with respect to labor in this case is equal to percentage change in Q divided by percentage change in L, that is labor. Or the same can be expressed as delta Q by Q divided by delta L by L, which can be expressed as delta Q by delta L into L by Q. अब delta Q by delta L अभी हमने कहा that is the marginal product of labor. We can say that the elasticity of output with respect to labor is marginal product of labor divided by average product of labor. That is, it is a ratio of marginal product of labor and average product of labor. In terms of calculus, ये formulas जो हैं marginal product of labor is curly Q by curly L because we are holding the other variable as fixed. And average product of labor obviously it's Q by L. Whereas the elasticity of output with respect to labor is curly Q by curly L multiplied by L by Q. So that we have calculated the elasticities and we can see that elasticity is first it is equal to 1, then greater than 1 और फिर इसके बाद जो है ये decline होना शुरू हो गई है, that is 0.57 which is less than 1 और फिर इसके बाद 0 हो जाती है और फिर हम देखते हैं कि for the 6th unit the elasticity of output with respect to labor is negative. Now we are considering the total product, marginal product, average product of labor and also the elasticities, that is the output elasticity with respect to labor. This can be shown now with the help of a diagram और ये diagram जो है वो आप देख सकते हैं screen के ऊपर और यहाँ पे हम देखते हैं there are 2 panels in this diagram. You can see the upper panel and the lower panel. In the upper panel, we have a graph total product curve and in the lower panel, we have graph the marginal product and the average product curve. अब आप देख सकते हैं कि जो टोटल प्रोडक्ट कर्व है, जैसे कि हमने पहले जो लेक्चर्स जिसमें हमने बात की थी, वेयर वी हैव डिस्कस्ड द ऑप्टिमाइजेशन or constrained optimization, there we have seen that whenever a total function is given, the slope graphically it is this slope of the graphically different points of tangent lines. अगर हम यहाँ पे tangent lines draw करते हैं, that gives us the slope of the total function, and that slope is the marginal function. तो यहाँ पे हमारे पास total product curve है, और यहाँ पे जो total product हम term use कर रहे हैं, इसके साथ जो इक्विवेलेंट टर्म्स हैं, कभी हम टोटल प्रोडक्ट कहेंगे, कभी टोटल आउटपुट कहेंगे. दीज आर ऑल इक्विवेलेंट टर्म्स. वी कैन यूज़ आउटपुट, प्रोडक्ट, टोटल आउटपुट, और इसी तरह से इनपुट्स के लिए भी हम कभी फैक्टर्स यूज़ कर सकते हैं. ये सब इक्विवेलेंट टर्म्स हैं, फैक्टर्स ऑफ प्रोडक्शन, इनपुट्स और रिसोर्सेज. तो इससे आप कंफ्यूज नहीं हो, क्योंकि जब हम टोटल प्रोडक्ट कह रहे हैं तो हम इसको टोटल आउटपुट भी कई दफ़ा कहेंगे, और जो हम सिंबल्स में क्यू से इसको जो है शो करेंगे, या मे बी हम टोटल प्रोडक्ट दैट इज़ कैपिटल TP भी लिख सकते हैं. तो यहाँ पे आप देखें कि इस ग्राफ में जो टोटल प्रोडक्ट का ग्राफ है, दिस इज़ राइजिंग अप टू पॉइंट G, दैट इज़ इट्स स्लोप इज़ राइजिंग अप टू पॉइंट G, and corresponding to this, since the slope of the total product graphically it is the marginal product of labor. तो यहाँ पे आप corresponding marginal product of labor curve, you can see it in the lower panel. There you can see that marginal product of labor curve is also rising up to this point, and point G is corresponded here by the point G prime. After this, total product is rising, but now it is increasing at a decreasing rate. So after in the lower panel you can see that this corresponds to a decline in the marginal product of labor curve, जिसमें आप देख सकते हैं कि after this point G prime, the marginal product of labor curve starts declining, and ultimately it intersects the x-axis at point J prime. और total product curve को अगर आप देखते हैं, you will see that there at point J, the tangent to the curve is a horizontal straight line. And we have already discussed that a horizontal straight line, when the tangent of a curve is a horizontal straight line, that indicates that the slope is 0. And this is what we have shown here, that marginal product of labor at point J prime, which corresponds to J in the upper panel, at that point marginal product of labor is equal to 0. Now considering the average product of labor curve, इसको आप देखें तो आप देखेंगे कि we have drawn a ray from the point of origin to the total product curve, and that ray it touches total product curve at यहाँ पे ये इसको point H पर जो है touch कर रही है, and the corresponding point in the lower panel is H prime. This is the point where the average product of labor is at its maximum, क्योंकि यहाँ पे आप देखें कि यहाँ तक जो इसकी slope है total product की, that is increasing. बट इंसिडेंटली इन दिस केस यहाँ पे आप देखें कि जो स्लोप है, जो हमने रे ड्रॉ की है फ्रॉम पॉइंट ऑफ ऑरिजिन टू द टोटल प्रोडक्ट, इट इज़ ऑल्सो टेंजेंट टू द कर्व, टेंजेंट टू द टोटल प्रोडक्ट कर्व at the same point, that is H. So that this means that at this point, slope of the average product of labor and that of the marginal product of labor is equal at that point. और ये point जो correspond कर रहा है, उसको हम अगर lower panel में देखेंगे, we'll see that at this point, the marginal product of labor curve intersects the average product of labor curve. That is, at this point, marginal product of labor is exactly equal to the average product of labor. और ये point जो है lower panel में, that is shown by H prime. As long as average product of labor curve is rising, marginal product of labor curve lies above it. Once they are equal, that is, the two curves intersect each other at point H prime, then average product of labor जो है वो decline होना शुरू हो जाता है, and when from this point onwards, the marginal product of labor lies below the average product of labor curve. So this is the how the two curves, that is the average product of labor and the marginal product of labor in the lower panel, are shown, the relationship between these two curves, and then they are also their relationship to the total product curve is shown in this diagram. Using this diagram, we can also show the three stages of production. Now here we have drawn, you will see in the diagram, that dotted lines are drawn, which is first of all you can see that this is from the point of origin to the point where the average product of labor is maximum, that is point H prime. This corresponds to stage 1 of the production for labor. Stage 1 of production for labor, and then from this point onwards up to the point that is extends from H prime to J prime. That is the marginal product of labor, where the portion of the marginal product of labor where it is falling. ये जो stage है यहाँ पे ये this is stage 2 of production for labor. And afterwards, when marginal product of labor post point J is negative, then stage 3 of production for labor starts. So here we can see the 3 stages of production: stage 1, stage 2 and stage 3. जो rational manager होगा, जो rational producer होगा firm का, he or she will not operate in stage 3 of production for labor, since in this case we are considering that labor is the variable input. तो इसलिए यहाँ पे क्यों नहीं करेगा, क्योंकि वहाँ पे marginal product of labor जो है इस area में that is negative. Similarly, he or she will not operate in the first stage of production because that can be shown that this corresponds to the third stage of the or stage 3 of the for the production of capital. तो ये हम इसको शो कर सकते हैं कि ये stage 3 जो है that is for the production for capital. So this in other words means that marginal product of capital in this stage is negative. So in both of these stages, that is stage 1 and stage 3, a rational producer will not operate. A rational producer will operate only in stage 2, where the marginal product of labor and marginal product of capital both are positive. They are declining, but they are both positive. So he or she, that is the producer of the firm, will operate only in this stage of the production. While we are considering these 3 different stages of production for labor, here we can come across another important law of economics, and that is called law of diminishing returns. When we go on increasing the number of units of the variable inputs with a specific amount of the fixed input, after some point the returns to the variable input will start declining, and this is what is called law of diminishing returns. और ये हमने पहले भी अभी आपको टेबल में भी बताया था कि marginal product of labor after some point it starts declining, and graphically you can see that the law of diminishing returns sets in when marginal product of labor starts declining, and this is the point where marginal product of labor जो हमने देखा था कि point G तक the total product was rising and the corresponding point in the lower panel was G prime. After this point, when the marginal product of labor starts declining and ultimately it becomes equal to 0, and afterwards it becomes its marginal product of labor become negative. So the law of diminishing returns that sets in from this point, that is when which corresponds to graphically यहाँ पे G prime जो point था where marginal product of labor is maximum, then it starts declining. This is where graphically we can say that law of diminishing starts. A law of diminishing returns, it's not a theorem which can be proved or disproved with logic. It is rather a law which जिसको क्या ये law जो है law of diminishing returns, you can say that it is a universal law. Especially इसके classic example जो है वो land और labor के साथ दी जाती है. अगर आपके पास एक specific amount है land की और उसके ऊपर you go on increasing the number of laborers, after some point, पहले तो जो है इसमें production जो है वो increase होगी, लेकिन इसके बाद एक point ऐसा आएगा जबकि बहुत सारे laborers आप यहाँ पे use करेंगे तो they will come in each other's way, and instead of increasing production will start declining. जब total product जो है वो कम होगी, marginal product of labor will also start declining, and here the law of diminishing returns comes into the picture. तो इसलिए यहाँ पे law of diminishing returns जो है या empirically जब इसको test किया गया है बार-बार, it has always been proved, it has always been found true empirically. So we are not going to prove or disprove this law using logic. ये law of diminishing returns जो है, this is one of the most important laws of economics, और इसको प्रोडक्शन थ्योरी में स्पेशली जो है हम देख सकते हैं कि एग्रीकल्चरल प्रोडक्शन में भी और इंडस्ट्रियल प्रोडक्शन में भी एट सम पॉइंट ऑफ द प्रोडक्शन दिस लॉ सेट्स इन, और इसके बाद आफ्टर दैट पॉइंट मार्जिनल प्रोडक्ट ऑफ लेबर स्टार्ट्स डिक्लाइनिंग when one of the inputs, in this case we are assuming that one of the inputs is variable while the other of the input, that is capital, is fixed. इसके बाद हमने अभी कहा था कि जो रैशनल प्रोड्यूसर है he or she will operate only in stage 2 of production. At precisely at what point he or she will operate, this will depend on the prices of the inputs and outputs. So that we can say that यहाँ पे हम जो term use करेंगे marginal revenue product, which is equal to, mathematically this is equal, marginal revenue product of labor is equal to marginal product of labor multiplied by the marginal revenue. Marginal revenue जो है उसको जो sale से आपको revenue generate हो रहा है, that is marginal revenue. Suppose that the price of the commodity is $10. तो यहाँ पे हम आपको इसको एक टेबल में भी शो कर सकते हैं कि किस तरह से हम जो है मार्जिनल रेवेन्यू प्रोडक्ट उसको कंप्यूट कर सकते हैं. In this table you can see that in the first column we have units of labor, in the second column marginal product corresponding to these different units of labor. Again we are assuming that labor is the variable input and capital is the fixed input. Third column में हमने marginal revenue जो है, we have shown the marginal revenue which is equal to price in this case, and the price of the commodity is assumed to be $10. In the fourth column, look at the fourth column is obtained where we have calculated the marginal revenue product, and this is obtained by multiplying column 2 by column 3. That is, the marginal product of labor is to be multiplied by marginal revenue which is generated from the sale of the output. And here we can see that when the units of labor employed are 2.5 units, then 4 multiplied by $10, this is equal to $40. And similarly, we go on multiplying the successive units and we get the marginal revenue product. Marginal revenue cost, that is MRC of labor. In this case, we are assuming that the wages, obviously, whenever a new labor or new unit of labor is hired, the firm has to pay him or her wages. तो जो wages हैं हमने यहाँ पे assume किए हैं that they are $20 per week or per day. तो इसमें ये wages जो हैं fixed हैं, और ये जो है these are showing the cost of the firm. जब whenever a unit of labor is increased, in this case we have to compare the marginal revenue product of labor with the marginal revenue cost of labor. As long as marginal revenue of product जो MRP है that is greater than the marginal revenue cost, the firm will go on increasing the number of units of labor. Once marginal revenue product of labor is equal to the marginal revenue cost of labor, then at that point the firm, वो जो point है ये benchmark point है जहाँ पे firm जो है further अगर number of units जो है labor के increase करेगी, तो इस case में फिर cost जो है it will add more to the cost of labor than the revenue which is generated. So in this case यहाँ पे हमने input और output की prices जो हैं उनको consider करना है, और stage 2 में अगर हमने precisely, if we have to see where the producer is operating precisely at what point, then we have to compare the marginal revenue product of labor with the marginal revenue cost of labor. Or इसमें we have to, in this case, obviously we have to consider the prices of the inputs and the prices of the output. What we have shown right now in the table, we can show it in graph. Here you can see in this graph we have horizontal line which is presenting the wages. क्योंकि हमने wages को हमने assume किया है that they are fixed at $20 per day, और इसके साथ हमारे पास एक downward sloping curve है. You can see that this is also representing the demand for labor from the firm side. अभी हमने जैसे अपनी टेबल में देखा था that when 3.5 units of labor are employed, at that point marginal revenue product is equal to $20 and the marginal revenue cost of labor is also equal to $20. And this point is shown in the graph by the intersection of the horizontal straight line with the downward sloping line. और डाउनवर्ड स्लोपिंग लाइन जो इस केस में है दैट कैन ऑल्सो बी कंसिडर्ड एज द डिमांड फॉर लेबर, जो कि फर्म जो है उसका डिमांड फॉर लेबर उसको भी शो कर रहा है, मार्जिन रेवेन्यू प्रोडक्ट का कर्व जो है। और इसमें हम देख सकते हैं कि हम डिफरेंट लेवल्स जो हैं लेबर के उस पर अगर हम यहाँ पे कंसिडर करें वेजेस के, फॉर इंस्टेंस $40, $30, $20, तो इस पे फर्म की जो डिमांड है लेबर के लिए वो क्या होगी। At this point, the demand for labor is 3.5 units. Next, we are going to consider another very important production function where we are going to consider the isoconts. तो isoconts को again हम यहाँ पे जो है explain करने के लिए we are going to use the same table that we have used at the beginning of our lecture. But here you can see that same table that is presenting various combinations of inputs, and corresponding to these various combinations of input, we have specific amounts or specific levels of outputs. तो इस टेबल में हमने देखा है as far as the term isocont is concerned, it is derived from iso meaning equal and quant meaning quantity. So isocont represents a curve which is presenting various combinations of labor and capital for the specific or the maximum level of output. So जो ये maximum level of output है या specific level of output है वो हमने show किया है यहाँ पे by connecting different levels of output. जो level of output है for instance यहाँ पे अगर आप देखते हैं screen पर तो आप देखेंगे कि हमने different isoconts जो हैं इस table में draw किए हैं. For example, when the level of output is 12Q, और इसको मैंने पहले भी explain किया था कि अगर हम 1 unit जो है वो लेबर का ले रहे हैं और 4 units of capital, then the total output is 12Q. But the total output is again 12Q when we are using the same unit of labor, but here that is the combination 1L and 5K. इसी कर्व पर रहते हुए अगर हम देखते हैं that we are using, the firm is using 3 units of labor and 1 unit of capital. The total output is 12. Similarly, the total output is again 12 when 1 unit of capital and 6 units of labor are employed. इसमें obviously जैसे मैंने पहले कहा था कि inputs जो हैं they are not free. So the firm will select here the combination 1K and 3L. And in case of 1L and 4K, 1L and 5K, firm will select 1L and 4K. लेकिन यहाँ पे आप देखते हैं कि जो 12Q है उसको हमने इस स्पेसिफिक लेवल को हमने लाइन से ज्वाइन किया है. इसी तरह से नेक्स्ट जो हायर इसके जो आइसोकॉन्ट कर्व है, हायर आइसोकॉन्ट कर्व इज रेफर्ड टू विद 28Q. तो जो भी हायर कर्व होगा वो कॉरस्पॉन्ड करेगा, उसमें हम रेफर कर रहे होंगे larger output को, और जो lower curve होगा that will be referred to the smaller output. For instance, in this case, the lowest isocont curve is 12Q, the next higher is 28Q, the next higher is 36Q, and the highest in this case is presenting 40Q. So in this case, various combinations of labor and capital will result in 40 units of total output. जो maximum output यहाँ पे produce होगी वो 40 units होगी. इसमें जो है different हमने isoconts जो हैं वो draw किए हैं, और इसमें आप देख सकते हैं कि different जो combinations हैं, various combinations of labor and capital, they are producing the same level of output along one isocont. अगर हम एक ही isocont की बात कर रहे हैं तो यहाँ पे हम देख सकते हैं कि that level of output will not change. The level of output is the same. For instance, the lowest isocont, वहाँ पे you select any point on the lowest isocont, the total or the maximum level of output is equal to 12Q. The various for the various combinations of labor and capital. Similarly, जब आप next higher को isocont को देखते हैं तो वहाँ पे the maximum level of output is 28Q. That is using different combinations of labor and capital. The total output, the maximum output that can be produced by the firm is equal to 28 units of output. हो सकता है कि output, this output could be let's say different units of TV sets. तो अगर हम various combinations जैसे कि यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हैं, if we use 3 units of labor and 2 units of capital, 28 TV sets can be produced. तो इस isocont पे अगर आप रहते हैं, the total or the maximum level of output will remain the same, that is, it will not change. In the next slide, you can see that we have drawn the isocont curves, जो हमने पहले टेबल में से ही हमने यहाँ पे रिप्रोड्यूस किए हैं. और हॉरिजॉन्टल एक्सिस पे हम लेबर ले रहे हैं और जो वर्टिकल एक्सिस है वहाँ पे हम कैपिटल को जो है प्लॉट कर रहे हैं. Here you can see that the isocont curves, they have both a portion of negatively sloped curve area and also a positively sloped area. और यहाँ पे हमने दो जो lines draw की हैं, the thick lines which are OVI and the other line which is OZI. These are called ridge lines. Now first look at the lower one, that is OVI. Here you can see that towards the right of this ridge line, the isoconts are positively sloped, whereas towards the left of this ridge line, the isoconts are negatively sloped. और अगर हम दूसरी ridge line को देखेंगे, which is for capital, here we can see that towards the right of this ridge line, the isoconts are negatively sloped, whereas towards the left of this ridge line, the isoconts are positively sloped. Let's first consider the lower ridge line, which is OVI. यहाँ पे अगर आप देखते हैं कि जो point V है, that is on the isocont curve, where the total product or total output is equal to 36Q. That is 36 units can be produced by using, if we look at point V here, approximately the firm is utilizing 4.5 units of labor corresponding to 3 units of capital. Now if we increase labor using the same level of capital, we'll see that the firm will fall back to the lower isocont और वहाँ पे अब firm जो है वो lower isocont पे आ जाएगी. So in this case we can see, on the other hand, if the firm moves on to point compare point V and U. अब V and U में यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हैं कि V and U they are both on the isocont which represents 36Q. लेकिन ये जो U है, point U, this is on the positively sloped area or segment of the isocont curve. और अभी हमने आपसे ये कहा कि यहाँ पे negatively sloped area भी है और positively sloped जो है portion वो भी isoconts के हैं, जो कि दोनों sides पे हम देख सकते हैं. In this case, the economically meaningful region or economic region of operation is the area of the or the portion of the isoconts which is negatively sloped. The reason is that अगर हम positively sloped area को देखेंगे, this corresponds to stage 3 of production for labor, and there we have seen that stage 3 of production for labor was the area where marginal product of labor is negative. Similarly, if we look at the ridge line which is presented by 0 or ZI, तो उसको अगर हम देखते हैं तो वहाँ पे भी हम देख सकते हैं कि जो इसके ridge line के right side पे area है, that is negatively sloped isoconts का जो portion है, लेकिन इसके अगर हम left side पे देखेंगे तो वो positively sloped area है. That corresponds to the stage 3 of production for capital. And here we can say that the marginal product of capital is negative. So the firm has to operate within this area which lies between these two ridge lines. That is the economically meaningful area, or this is also called economic region, जिसमें कि firms जो हैं वो operate करेंगी, because in this area the marginal product of labor and the marginal product of capital are both positive. और अगर हम इसमें देखेंगे जो lower ridge line है उसके जो राइट साइड है जो पॉजिटिवली स्लोप्ड एरिया है आइसोकॉन्ट्स का, डिफरेंट आइसोकॉन्ट्स का, दैट इंडिकेट्स दैट द मार्जिनल प्रोडक्ट ऑफ लेबर हियर इज नेगेटिव. और अगर हम अपर रिज लाइन को देखेंगे तो इसमें जो पॉजिटिवली स्लोप्ड एरिया है डिफरेंट आइसोकॉन्ट्स का, दैट रिप्रेजेंट्स मार्जिनल प्रोडक्ट ऑफ कैपिटल विच इज़ नेगेटिव इन दिस एरिया. दैट इज स्टेज 3 ऑफ प्रोडक्शन फॉर द कैपिटल. तो इसमें हम जो है जो फर्म को ऑपरेट करना है, इसमें that is the economic region or the region which is relevant for us, that is only the area which lies between these two ridge lines. The area which lies above this or below this, the two ridge lines, that is irrelevant area as far as इकोनॉमिकली मीनिंगफुल एरिया इज़ कंसर्न, देयरफॉर वो सिर्फ वही एरिया है जो कि इन रिज लाइंस के बीच में है, और वो एरिया जो है उसमें मार्जिनल प्रोडक्ट ऑफ कैपिटल और मार्जिनल प्रोडक्ट ऑफ लेबर both are positive, and that is the relevant area for production. In the next slide, you can see that we have drawn the same isochords, but we have drawn only the negatively sloped area of the isochords. That is the area which is relevant. और जो economic region अभी हमने define किया था, यहाँ पे हम देख सकते हैं कि वही जो area है वो हमने इनका negatively sloped area of isochords are drawn. In this case, you can see that these are the same isochords. That is, the successive level of outputs are 12Q, 28Q, 36Q, 40Q. The lowest isochord is the isochord where various combinations of labor and capital, they give us the maximum output, which corresponds to 12Q. और यहाँ पे हम देख सकते हैं there are different points, that is point N, R and S. If यहाँ पे point N और R को अगर आप देखते हैं, and if the firm wants to increase the number of units of labor, that is from 1 to 2, you can see that it has to give up 2.5 units of capital. So that this exchange can be seen as, यहाँ पे हम इसको कह सकते हैं -2.5, क्योंकि capital जो है वो reduce हुआ है इतने units, that the firm is ready to give up 2.5 units of capital for 1 more unit of labor. So this means that between these 2 points, हम जैसे that is N and R, this is the ratio of exchange. On the other hand, if we compare the 2 points R and S here, we can see that in order to use 1 more unit of labor, the firm is ready to give up only 5 units of capital. So in this case, we can say that the slope is declining. Between points N and R, it is -2.5, and between points R and S, it is -1/2. So we can see that the slope of the isochord, when we move down along the same isochord, the slope of is declining. This is called marginal rate of technical substitution. That is marginal rate of technical substitution of labor for capital. अगर हम लेबर का जो है 1 यूनिट इंक्रीज करेंगे तो इसके लिए हमें जो है रिड्यूस करना पड़ेगा फर्म को कैपिटल. तो ये जो एक्सचेंज है, दैट इज द गेन दैट द फर्म गेट्स फ्रॉम इंक्रीजिंग 1 यूनिट ऑफ लेबर, दैट कैन बी एक्सप्रेस्ड मैथमेटिकली एज डेल्टा एल, जो चेंज आपने लेबर में किया है. और इसके साथ जो चेंज आपने इसके साथ जो आप जब फर्म जो है वो कैपिटल को रिड्यूस करती है, दैट इज़ कॉल्ड डेल्टा के. तो इसको अगर हम इस तरह से देखेंगे तो हम देखते हैं कि जो गेन 1 यूनिट बढ़ाने से हासिल किया है, दैट शुड बी इक्वल टू द लॉस विच इज़ बीन इनकर्ड बाय रिड्यूसिंग द कैपिटल. तो इसको हम मार्जिनल रेट ऑफ टेक्निकल सब्स्टिट्यूशन कहते हैं, और दिस इज इक्वल टू मैथमेटिकली दिस कैन बी गिवन एज मार्जिनल रेट ऑफ टेक्निकल सब्स्टिट्यूशन is equal to minus delta K by delta L, which can also be expressed as a ratio of the marginal products of the 2 inputs, that is marginal product of labor divided by marginal product of capital. This can also be explained with the help of derivatives, that is calculus को अगर हम use करेंगे, we are saying that along the same isochord curve, the total output does not change, it remains the same. Total output जो है अगर we are considering this isochord which represents total output, here it is equal to 12Q, so it will not change along the same isochord curve. So in terms of calculus, we can say that the total differential, that is dq, is set equal to 0, and total differential dq is equal to curly q by curly L multiplied by dl, that is change in labor, प्लस कर्ली क्यू बाई कर्ली के इंटू डी एल चेंज इन कैपिटल. अगर हमने लेबर में चेंज किया है, उसको हमने इंक्रीज किया है, तो इसके साथ ही जो कैपिटल है, इन ऑर्डर टू रिमेन ऑन द सेम isochord, the capital has to be reduced, which is indicated by dk. Setting this equal to 0 and then rearranging the term, we get dk by dl is equal to negative of curly q by curly L divided by curly q by curly k, and we know that curly q by curly L is marginal product of labor, whereas curly q by curly k is the marginal product of capital. So that marginal rate of technical substitution is equal to dk by dl, which is equal to the ratio of marginal product of labor to marginal product of capital. We have said that isochronds are negatively sloped, but we can see that isochron curves are also convex. और इसको जो ये convexity है, this is what we can see here, that the marginal rate of technical substitution declines along the same isochron curve. This is what we have shown by looking at the slopes at different points. हमने देखा था that the point between the point N and R the slope was -0.25, -2.5, और इसके बाद जब हमने next 2 points को consider किया था, we have seen that the slope declines between point R and S, and it was equal to -half. So this indicates that marginal rate of technical substitution falls, and this is why we can see that the isochron curves are convex to the origin, because marginal rate of technical substitution falls if the firm has to increase one unit of labor. That is, if it is increasing the unit of labor, it has to decrease or reduce the units of capital. तो यहाँ पे हमने देखा कि marginal rate of technical substitution जो है that is falling, that is it is declining, which shows that the isochronds are convex to the origin. They are not only negatively sloped, but they are also convex to the origin. With this, we come to end of this session. We'll continue with this topic next time. Thank you. Khuda Hafiz.